Welcome back to the show. This is the second hour of the relationship resonance, and today we are looking, it's a continuation of a conversation that we began last week. It's all about purpose and living your purpose and in your purpose as well. And so be part of the conversation. Hope TV Kenya across all our social media platforms. You can get us also on WhatsApp 0708 222 323, and we will appreciate all those questions, clarities, and queries that you could be having. And so today we are continuing with the same, and today we want to look at some of the misconceptions and also hindrances towards life purpose. That is what we will try to look at and tackle today. And we are having our guest. We had him last week, and so we continue with him today, Gabriel Nyamu, who is a purpose coach. And Gabriel, good morning, and it's good to have you back.
Good morning, Gigi, and welcome. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're well?
Always a pleasure. I'm very well.
It's always a joy to have you.
Thank you. Thank
because, you challenge us, to become better people as well.
Yes.
Before we get into the day's conversation, maybe for purposes of maybe someone who did not join us last week, a brief introduction of yourself, and then maybe also a brief recap of our conversation last week.
All right. Thank you again. So my name is Gabriel Nyamu. I'm a husband. I am a father of 3 children. And I'm a purpose coach. I am a voice, or apostolic voice, in driving or helping people discover their life purpose, and more particularly, redemptive purpose. Because there's a difference between just the normal purpose that everybody talk about, but it's the redemptive purpose, which is the God-given purpose and God working through you to advance his agenda, which people call the divine assignment. So I'm that apostolic voice in that space. And last time you were here, we started off a conversation, laying out a foundation, and a foundation was allowed. One is that this is not your purpose. It's God's purpose. And you look at the account of David, that after David accomplished God's purpose in his generation, he saw decay and was buried with his ancestors. Meaning, it is not David's purpose. It is God's purpose, but he had to use an agency, which is the human. And that's what God does. He created man in his own image and likeness, but more particularly, to have a fellowship with him, but also there's workmanship again together. So it's God working with and through man. And that's what we defined as purpose. So we said again, purpose has always to have relevance within the current generation. And I think we looked at, for example, if you check the people who lived around 17th, 16th century, how comes there's a lot of scientific revolution that happened during that time? Because God is also working through. He created time. He was there before time. He set forth time, and time is just a little tiny piece of eternity. So within every time, there is something that he had evoked. I think the Ecclesiastes also, Solomon tells us, there's always purpose for every time. Everything has its own time and a purpose for everything. So what we need to check is, for example, what is God doing currently? We say that we're in 21st century. There's no way your purpose can be attached to 17th century. Not past time. Not right. Then we also looked at purpose is not what you do. It is what happens in other people as you do what you do. So you are called human being. The being or who you become precedes what you do. So it is by who you are that then you do what you do. So many times we are trapped in the definition of who we are based on what you do. And I think I gave an example. If I remember, I stepped into a room and I told people, introduce yourself, but I want to eliminate the following things. I listed 9 things to eliminate. And I said, don't tell me the work you do, qualifications, the studies you have done, marital status, where you come from, whether you are black or brown, or whatever. Remove all those things, who you are. And everybody was silent. Because we've been defined by those things. But there's an essence in you that is trapped in you that is beyond. What you do is just a small maybe expression of yourself. And we said, John the Baptist never said, I am a baptizer. That's what he was doing. But there was a higher calling beside that. The core essence was, I'm a voice in the wilderness, proclaiming the ways of the Lord and ushering or for a learner for Messiah. that is a very deep, profound definition of who he is. And even Christ himself, he don't come to describe what he was doing. He mostly said, I am the way. That way is an essence of who you are. So, but when you talk about the things we do, you can do so many things. Jesus could have said, I'm a carpenter also. There's so many things. So if I people trapped, I'm an accountant, I'm a manager, those are just titles. Exactly, yeah. And I know one of these will be looking at today, some of the hindrances to purposeful living, and you're going to unpack some of those. So what happens in other people that is mostly redemptive actually, because I know, or I don't know whether you mentioned this, that one, God is the business of reconciliation. That's a foundational pursuit of God. It's actually like his full-time work after creating man now, and after man fell in Genesis 3, God started working what? Reconciliation and redemption. And for all those thousands of years, God was working to redeem man back to the original identity. And he did that through the finished work of Christ. But constantly remember, at the beginning, even before the man fell, God had already said count that there was no shrub in the garden. Nothing has sprung up. Why? Because God had not sent rain. That's one side. That's God's responsibility. But there was no man to work in the garden. And I call that duality, the duality of how God and man agency works. So you always find parallel. There's like almost something that God is ushering a foundation because it's a source. Fatherhood is a source. That's why he says he's a father, because that's a source. But then there's stewardship where man comes. So you need to ask yourself then, what are you stewarding in your life that becomes that this is how God is working through you as an agency? So I know we covered a little bit of that. So we of course also looked at some of the misconceptions because, and I know that's what maybe you're going to expound today. Misconceptions maybe around purpose versus meaning. The people who asked me about even the Ikigai model, which is a Japanese concept. And, in my early stage, of course, that's one of the models I got exposed to, but later actually discovered, again, it's still not necessarily what you're talking. It's not the biblical purpose. I know people talk about Ikigai because it's a study done in Japan, that Japan has most of the, long living centenarians, people who are living 120 years, 130 years. And there's all those 10 Japanese principles, of course, people will say the reason why they live long. But when you look at the biblical order, I mean, the issue is not about how long you live. Jesus lived only 33 years and accomplished his purpose. So if you talk about longevity, then Jesus will not feature anywhere. So if you accomplish your purpose even at 10 or 20 years, and that's what God had meant for you to do, whatever mission that you are to accomplish, that is it. So nothing, you can live 200 years purposeless. And you can live 50 years.
We're just wasting time.
Exactly. We are all talking about this American Chuck. Kirk, sorry, yes. And I mean, yes, it's very unfortunate, and we really sympathize with the family, and it's quite hard. But you can see the kind of impact he has made, even at that tender age. So the thing is, there are people who actually die even at 110 years, but no account anywhere. So the longevity does not count here. Of course, it's God's promise, and these are more universal. That, of course, that we should live the fullness of our age. But the focus is not necessarily the time and the years we live. It's the impact you make when you're here. So I think those are the foundations that we laid down last time, and I know probably we didn't go into the real, like, what are some of the things that may depict that you are living a purpose-led life. Maybe those are conversations we can have later. And also, people will always ask you for a formula. How do I get to know my purpose? The only thing we can share is pointers, and there are things that can give you directions. And I think we can maybe touch on that towards the end of the today's segment. So I think that's the foundation, and happy to engage more today around some of the hindrances, but also some misconceptions about purpose that make people, they are pursuing something that is, they have good intent, but they end up pursuing something in the wrong direction. And I think that's our conversation today.
So do we start with the misconceptions or the hindrances?
We can deal with the hindrances first. They are not that many. In fact, I can lap them up in few. But I think the greatest one I have seen, hindrances for purpose-led living. One is this, I'll call them the survival mindset. And it clip in so quietly in someone's life, only just to realize actually I was just barely surviving.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perspective based on an experience. I worked in a leading bank, a tier one bank, and we happened to have done retrenchment when I was very young in the bank, and I was around 3 years in the bank. A retrenchment happens, but I was in the human resource, so I was in charge of benefits. We were reign of around 104 employees. Because I was in charge of benefits, or calculating their terminal benefits, I happened to interact with majority of them.
Yes,
Over
yes.
90 plus passed through my desk,
Yeah.
especially because of calculating their terminal dues. And these are people who are very senior. They had served the bank for 20 years, 30 years. And that's actually where my journey began. And out of the 97, 94 of them were very bitter.
94.
Out of 97.
Yeah.
Total were around 104. I still have like a record somewhere. So, but 97 of them, 94 out of the 97 were so bitter. You mean when they were coming even to HR, they were coming like, of course I was so junior. I even didn't know how the retrenchment happened because I was so junior that time.
But you're there,
I was just giving the records.
Yeah.
But people are coming, they are venting, they are
Yeah.
shouting, they are saying, oh, it's my director who gave the name and all that. And I was looking at them as a 3-year-old employee and I'm like, will I want to serve 20 plus years? And this is the kind of bitterness I have.
Yeah.
Even if I serve 10 years, will I have achieved something I can say? Even if I leave, glory to God, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Whether I leave through dismissal or redundancy, retrenchment or resignation, doesn't matter.
No.
And I remember this lady who had served for 27 years, all the children were working abroad. She actually was an empty nest, very senior person.
Yeah.
She had accomplished everything you can think about life. She had properties, real estate, land, where she was doing massive farming. And you could know this because from her HR, you were able to see some employee records. So you could see this lady has good investments. She doesn't even have a child at home. She's not investing in diapers. Nothing. No school fees.
Yeah.
The children are even working abroad. So what do you expect such a person? And then she was taking home several tens of millions as net take home. She didn't have a loan, no mortgage, no car, or nothing.
Yeah.
Then I remember she was crying and she was quite of wailing. And she told me in our conversation, before I gave her the calculations and all that, and she said, I'm happy as I have brought up my children here, they're all working, but I feel I'm going home empty. And I questioned myself a lot. I thought also I'm working to be like this.
Yeah.
Oh, what you have, in fact,
Yeah, that's
this
the
is
goal.
the millage of what I'm looking But this is a person who have everything.
All that.
Then he's telling me his feeling is going home empty. It's when I discovered, and it's some little conversation I found, she was working for herself in terms of survival. So there's that spirit of survival where it's about earning a life. Bringing your children up.
Yeah.
It's still a survival aspect because it's more about you. Paying school fees, paying bills. It's like the default. Now, this is the risk.
Yeah.
When you're in survival mode, there's no way you can pursue something meaningful because you'll always be a victim. When you're in survival mode, it will keep you to a victim mindset. That's why you find people, when there's a small shake in the organization, everybody is in fear. I might be released. I might could be the next.
Yeah.
Now, I want to remind people about Jesus. If there's one thing Jesus kind of cautioned his disciples, it's the same. When he's telling them, do not worry what to eat, what to drink, what to dress, the clothing, the shelter, all those things, what you call the basic things. He's telling me, do not worry, because even the heathens and the pagans, this is the same concerns they have. So it doesn't make you different by worrying about the things you eat. But Gigi, ask people today why they work.
So many of us, that is where we are.
Ask people today, why do you, they will not tell you I work because I have a certain calling about, They say, I'm looking for a new job because I need to get a mortgage.
Yes.
Living for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know how to define poverty? Poverty is living for yourself.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter how much you accumulate.
It's not luck.
Exactly. It's living for yourself. It's not luck. Living for yourself, that's poverty.
Yeah.
So how can you, and Jesus knew that these people, where I found them, of course they were working and they were living and earning a life like anybody else.
Yeah.
And the reason was telling them, you need to live. You need to kind of detach from that survival mindset because I'm calling you for a kingdom participation here. But remember, it was one of the hardest things actually to deal with, even as Christ himself as a Messiah. Why? Look at when he was crucified and these guys, where they went. They went, Akina Peter, they went back to fishing. Because you need to analyze, remember, and they have interacted with the Messiah, not now like a coach like us and the mentors.
No.
You have walked with Jesus himself, who have said, I'm the bread of life. That bread you're looking
I'm that.
And when he was crucified, and they were like, now our hope is gone. The guy who had promised us that he's the Messiah, is the bread of life, has gone. Where did they go back? To survival mode.
Survival.
Now, that tells you the greatest hindrance in purposeful living. To pursue a kingdom assignment, that issue of survival, you have actually to almost surrender it.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you don't work. Actually, when you find your purpose, you find there's a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But when you participate in God's work, there's a way also He orchestrates and opens doors for your survival.
Yeah.
And a good example is that if I send you somewhere, Gigi, as my representative, either as my ambassador, who should take care of you? It's me.
It's you.
So if I send you to Djibouti, to Senegal, to India as my ambassador,
You put the bill.
everything around you, the other side, whether it's security, providence, everything, actually it's to my account. So you pursue the mandate. When you pursue the mandate, I'm going to provide you everything. Yet that is the greatest hindrance even today, even for believers.
Yeah.
Now, number two, which I know may appear again, it's a systematic issue, and people are trapped in this, is actually what you call careerism. Careerism. What you call careerism. Now, careerism, one of the disaster for careerism, and this is where professions comes in. When you look at them, they are not work. There's the difference between a job and work.
Yes.
Most careers are jobs. Now, this is the gist of it. Careerism and professionalism make everybody standardized. So if you are all pursuing accountants, we have a certain standard of practice as accountants, all of us in the world.
Yeah.
Because you have IFRS standards we have to adhere to, isn't it?
Yes.
You have some ethical and some professional standards we have to adhere to.
Yes.
What it does, quietly and silently, it makes you uniform and standard in a certain way. But Gigi, I don't think and I don't believe that God created us same.
No.
If we can pursue the same, we can even be in the same profession.
Yes.
We can be the same customer service managers. We can be the same CFOs, same CEOs. But we are different.
Yeah.
Because the grace that we dispense is our uniqueness. That's why even our, whether it's our fingerprint and our DNA is completely different.
Yes.
But we have a systemic world, and if you're not careful, you know that you're not conform with the patterns of the world.
Yes.
It is to make everybody uniform and standard,
Yeah.
and that actually remove you from your uniqueness. And that's why when I gave those people an assignment to define themselves, and you have removed the standardized version,
What has been
remove
yeah.
this, remove the issue of social class, remove the profession, remove the career you have done. What we forget is that career could just be a platform. It's a channel.
Yeah.
So you can be that customer service officer, but God is using that as a platform to dispense his purpose through you. So you are not your profession.
No.
You are not your career. Those are just what you do.
Yeah.
But what is unique? Because that uniqueness is actually where your purpose is found. Because there must be unique. Gigi, you can be watching news today, and then this may be a cue of sometimes how you start looking at your uniqueness. Because you're different. First of all, a human being is different from any other created species.
Yes.
I ask people a few questions. Why do you have eyes in front? And eyes are not here. And I did a study, and I discovered actually the eyes in front, especially for humans, it's a show of dominion. Because it's a more of a focus. You have nothing to worry about. And in fact, it amplifies that aspect of that. You are a domineering species. You are not a play. In fact, you're almost a predator. In fact, check the cat family. Most of their eyes are where?
Yeah. On the
So
side.
even the design of you, you are unique and you're meant for dominion. There's no way in this earth elephants and lions will ever dominate.
No.
And you check, we are the only species that has eyes in front.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the cat family have eyes in front but slightly aside. Only a human, your eyes are directly. You don't see sideways
yes.
because you have no worry. You have nothing to worry.
On the side.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you have the spirit of dominion. And the design almost show you the functionality of human. But we have now these systems and standards in professionalism and careerism that is to make everybody standard. That is actually not how we are wired. We are not a standard species.
Yeah.
We are unique, and everybody is unique in their own way. I think I give an example. There's a lady we were talking to who is a public speaker.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a public speaker.
Yeah.
That's a career.
Yes,
Anybody
it
can
is.
so speak. But this lady, when she go to the podium, anytime she go to the stage, when she started speaking,
Yeah.
you'll find people actually radiating energy and courage and confidence. People may be in a room that were gloomy, they were looking like they are helpless, they are hopeless.
Yeah.
When this lady just start to speak, even when she is speaking something that is not that impactful.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember her telling me, you know, sometimes if I don't even know what I'm saying. Sometimes I feel like I'm speaking nonsense.
Yeah.
But people are busy saying, yes, yes. So what is unique there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You can go to the same stage and people are feeling dry. What is the difference? You could be two of you
Yeah,
public speaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the thing is, if you don't find the difference, and that's one cue, if you're able to find your difference
Yeah.
in terms of how you impact people and how people get to be either transformed and impacted by your presence and essence,
Yeah.
it's actually a cue on your uniqueness.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
everybody will do what you do.
No.
Yeah, because this service, and I think I give that example of if I gave you 10 people to come and encourage you, not all of them will encourage you the same way.
No.
That's the second hindrance. So we say the first one purely is mostly the issue of the survival mindset.
Yeah.
The second one is that
Careerism,
careerism. Yes.
Yes.
The other one is what you call the staircase living. Staircase living is where when Gigi you are growing up, even your parents told you, go to school.
Yes.
Then after you go to school, pass well, of course,
Yeah.
so that you earn a life, definitely. Number two is marry, then get babies, or maybe build a house and get babies. And towards the end, retire. Do you know purpose has no retirement? If what you're pursuing has retirement, that's not purpose.
No.
You remember even the story of David. Everybody within the Bible who lived their life in fullness of God's purpose. One, the purpose even transcend you. In fact, you had over. So it means it doesn't even die. Yes, it's up to your lifetime because purpose is attached to your life. It's not something you do when you say I'm strong up to 60 years, then I retire. That is a job.
Yeah.
The essence of truly who you are should actually transcend even beyond that. And until you die, and even when you die, there's a way in which that essence sometimes is actually always handed over or transferred to the next generation. That's the thing. I remember I talked to a family that does, it's a place where I buy most during Christmas, where I go to buy, goods.
Yeah.
The sherehe in
Yes.
Christmas. And for the last almost 10 years, I have always bought my goods in the rural area somewhere near my place in Moranga. And this place, I found these guys, they are people who are maybe in their 40s, 50s, who sells, they have butchery. And during Christmas, they have so many, they bring cows and goats, so many.
Yeah.
And they have chains of butcheries. And I remember asking one of the founder there, tell me the secret of, I have bought, for the last 7 years plus, I have bought meat here, I have bought goats here. How comes you guys are just consistently in this business? I mean, I see others who start a butchery after 5 years, they close.
Yeah.
And remember the guy told me, just without necessarily knowing that I'm interrogating him, and he told me, you know what, this business is something that is attached to our lineage of family. Or, people will say, iko kwa damu. But of course, what they are talking is very legit. And he told me, in our family, we have engineers, we have architects, we have anybody, accountants.
Yeah.
But we usually start other businesses. And we go and start our accounting firm, the engineer go and start his engineering firm. But the only business that has stood the test of time is this one. Then I asked him, what is the second? So our grandfather, before that grandfather died, he called them, the Kitambo-san, I think, 1900 there. He called them, now the fathers, when he called them, they used to have this fireplace. And in the old days, we didn't have matchboxes. So what you do is to preserve the fire. So by preserving, you mean you put the fire, you put the ashes, and you assemble the kuni, those kuni.
Yeah.
Then you put the ash, And then when you cover the burning sprint with that ash, in the morning, you just come remove and you just brew and fire comes again.
Yeah.
So he called them before he died, and he put the sprints together and covered, and he told them that when he was young, he used to rear those goats, and he accommodated the first wave of missionaries that ever came. Some missionary work that never came. He like hosted them somehow. And he was able to do that because of this tent making that he was doing. And when he was dying, he told them, I would like this fire. That fire now is the fire of the entrepreneurial side. I would like this fire never to ever end. That's a transgenerational issue.
Yeah.
And these guys are now giving me, ignorant without necessarily nothing spiritual there.
No.
They're just telling us, in our family, there's just something unique. We offer it ourselves when we do the farming for goats, and not farming for coffee and
No.
the wheat and They said all those don't work.
Yeah.
This one for animal farming, livestock, is like already embedded in there.
Yeah. Family.
Now, so they were telling us when you were growing up, as we were told, study, go to school, become an engineer, an accountant. So they started pursuing other diverse things. But they were giving me feedback that the only business that has stood the test of time is actually this one that has a legacy.
Yeah.
Because even as much as his father died, this is something that is still handed over to the next generation. So we are busy forcing kids and our children to go through a staircase life. What is, now people talk about, what is marketable currently?
Yeah.
AI, data science and all that. And I tell people, that's nonsense. There's no marketable course in this world, Gigi.
No.
We have marketable people. People who are impactful, and they carry divine grace that is impactful. You can have somebody who is pursuing a cause that, I mean, when you look at it, you are like, why is this job currently?
Yeah.
But that guy is actually the CEO currently. You know, because there's no marketable courses.
No.
I have seen doctors who have done the medicine, and they are struggling out there.
Yeah.
We've seen engineers who are struggling. I've seen architects who are struggling. Even the same currently, the hype of AI engineers, data scientists. I know of many who are also still struggling because there's no marketable cause.
No.
If people found their uniqueness when they are young, what is that unique thing that you hold? And that's your essence. Of course, with the foundation of God, because God is the source.
Yeah.
That's where your purpose will be. But because of the obsession towards standardizing, we want to be like anybody else. So you hear what is trending currently.
Yeah.
You pursue, and then you force your children to take that. Yes, you can adapt those skills, but let the skills not define who you are. So that staircase living, it's like papa, and then you retire. It's one of the things. So you see life as just steps. And therefore, even in the mind, when you are 50-something, I do a lot of speaking engagements in, we call them outplacement. When people are being retrenched, pre-retirement, and I'm invited to corporates to go and speak to them. And I see the voidiness of people when they know I am almost approaching 60 years. And I'm like, then you hear people saying, after I retire, I want to go and serve community. Then my question is, you have not been serving community since you are 15 years, honestly speaking. Why are you going to serve them now?
60.
Why? I mean, I thought what you've been doing is the same. But it's a staircase life that after 60, I'm going to retire. So one of the things even we construct in purpose coaching is purpose has no retirement. It is the essence of you. And until you die, and even after you die, it will transcend. I want to give the last example there around that staircase living, where we find even, you can actually find purpose even through some threads even within your generation. Somehow, even in your lineage. Because God is a God of order. There's a way you orchestrate some uniqueness. That's why there are people who are praying harps in the old. There are people who are just good in farming. They were the Levites and all that. There's certain generational aspect. But because we want to be like anybody else, you find Levites now doing business. They were supposed to be. Of course, with the high priest, which is Christ, who came, we have a new dispensation. That one I fully agree. In terms of identity now is a bit different. And you have the fivefold ministry, we have different embodiment by grace of God and all that. But there's a way you'll find some uniqueness. And I've even found, like in my family, there is a certain sense of, when I look at it, there are two things that define, like in my family, we quite many of us, we're 11 siblings.
Wow.
But I did a time to study because I've done a lot of study even in different families. And I could find some uniqueness. Like in our family, the advocacy for justice is a foundational bias. even when you don't like it.
Yeah.
You find people advocating for some justice cause. And when I studied, and I've studied my dad, who is currently 96 years, and he has given me history of the previous, his father and the father's father, you know, grandfather. And I've actually discovered even my grandfather, even how he was called. He was like called like a DC, district commissioner. He's like a DC.
Yeah.
He was called a DC. But when I study, it's because he used to fight for, advocate for justice. Then number two is the spirit of teaching. It is so unique within our family.
Yeah.
And later, and here is not something that was done intentionally. I have found people that when they tune into these two, somehow they are flourishing. I mean, something very unique.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your destiny somehow even trapped. But we take time even to study our genealogy and our foundations, where we are coming from. Sometimes struggling, yet actually the things you're supposed to be are already trapped within us.
Yeah.
Now, the last example is about a Singaporean business. And this business, they're in automobile. And I happen to engage some of the owners. And the current leadership are around 70 years. They are like the chairman of that business. And I remember asking this guy, because I came to learn the business is 300 years old.
Yeah.
300 years. It's being managed by the 6th, 7th generation. So I asked them, how have you been able to transcend this business for, 3, 4, 5, now almost 7 generations?
Yeah.
Yet in Kenya, here in Africa, even 2 generations is very hard. These guys told me one thing. We don't hand over balance sheets. We don't hand over assets, share certificates, log books when we hand it over to the next generation. No. It's a family business. The only thing we hand over is the conviction of why we started the business. And I found it, wow. I have seen many will statements. People, when they are writing their will. Do you know what people write in the wills?
Yeah.
They write the title deeds, they write the log books, share certificates, and how it's going to be distributed, which is purely consumption mindset, which is the next hindrance we are going to talk about. So, these guys, they're saying their will is the convictions, not the assets.
No.
Because when you have the convictions, you can reproduce the assets.
Yeah.
That's a whole mindset shift. So when I'm transferring even my business to my child, my son or my daughter, what I need to put in the will is the convictions. How do we transfer convictions? That's the biggest question now. So the last hindrance, because I think we don't have time, so we can cover the next topic. It's actually, I suppose, the consumerism aspect, which is also driven by selfishness, the self-centeredness, which is also where consumerism comes in. If you check where currently, people mostly, they are consuming. We consume even knowledge. That's why Kenya are greater consumer in this ChatGPT, social media, because we are consumers. But that is driving us, because when you are a purpose-led, chances are you'll be a cause, not an effect. That's a tendency. You will not be asking this question of what is in it for me. Gigi, you ask many people, even employees, when you're going through restructuring and strategy, even employees, you hear them saying, what is in it for me? That's selfishness. That's consumerism, because you're looking at what to consume. Can't you look at, and we change that question, instead of what is in it for me, you ask yourself, what is in it by me, from me, through me? Not for me. So if you check when even companies are going through transformations, and especially for HR and CEOs, this is something they struggle with. They have to look for something packaged to tell employees, yeah, we are going through this strategic change, this is what is for me. That's pampering. Selfishness, and there's no way you can live their purpose in that mindset.
Is it the system then that the systems
we
have grown in
have
shaped us to think that way
about me?
It's all about
as a capitalism mindset, literally. So when you're thinking about you now, remember, why you born for yourself? That's a question. Imagine Gigi, God creating a fabric of masterpiece, because we are sold in the Ephesians 2:10. We are God's masterpiece, a grand design. For yourself. Living for yourself, honestly speaking. So yet that is actually what is driving most of the motivations in career, in business world. So that self-centeredness is capitalism. The issue of consumerism is about consuming. It's me consuming. Nothing to do with it coming from me to produce the world. Because in purpose, it's you impacting other people. Not by God's design and justice system, He rewards you now. So that what you get back is a reward system. Because by you obeying, automatically the way God allows your sustenance.
Yeah.
And that's a foundational principle in purpose-led living.
Yeah.
So those are some of the hindrances I can speak about today, but there are many others.
Yeah.
But I think those are the core I've seen in my purpose coaching tenor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because we for time, I don't think it's fair if we start the hindrances, because for not hindrances, for the misconceptions,
yes,
because for
yes.
the misconceptions there were quite a number,
yes.
And I would not want us to rush through them,
okay.
So that people get to because we are changing mindsets,
sure.
And when you are changing mindset, then you take people slowly and gradually, so that they are able to comprehend and understand all that we are doing.
Sure.
Talk to us, and maybe someone who is listening to us this morning, even as we 5 minutes to the top of the hour,
yeah.
How can one regain their purpose?
All right.
Maybe they feel there is something,
yeah.
And all those, especially the hindrances that you have mentioned,
yeah.
How do they regain their purpose?
Yeah. Good. I think that one, there's a foundation that we had listed earlier, yes. Around the 4 B's. The 4 B's is you have to start by the source, which is the belonging. Who do you belong to?
Yeah.
Number 2 is the aspect of who are you becoming, because the essence of who you are. In the book of Daniel, we always love quoting this scripture, that for them that know their God,
yes.
There is possessive.
Yeah.
There means belonging. Belong. That's a belonging.
Yes.
To know their God, them that know their God shall be. That's a become. Be.
Yeah.
So being strong is the becoming. And by becoming, they will do exploits.
Yeah.
So there's the belonging, there's the becoming, and the doing come last. So if you shape the priority of how you impact people based on who you are, because it's meaning where you belong, who you belong to, then who you are becoming, then it's by that design that then you do what you do. I'll give people some few pointers, but this is not, because the formula here is God has to expose to you and give you the revelation. But it has to go beyond what we call knowledge to convictions. Because that's one of the things, when we start purpose, with something called purpose mapping, the bottom is always convictions. And I'll give people this cue. Moses, I don't believe Moses started pursuing his purpose necessarily at the burning bush.
No.
Look at the story given from him. In his own life and storyline, when he was killing the Egyptian, of course he was trying to help God by doing something in the wrong way.
Yeah.
In his own anger, he went and killed the Egyptian. God never sent him to kill an Egyptian.
No.
That was not the redeeming pathway. But there's something I learned there. He already had convictions that these children should be free, that there is slavery, that this is not their destiny.
No.
So there's a conviction that he had before. Even you look at David, there's a certain sense of conviction that was burning. And the question I ask people, first of all, journal your convictions. That's a story we can have for a whole session. Journal your conviction. Now, let me define convictions.
Yeah.
If you go and search for convictions in the Wikipedia and all that, they'll give you maybe what I don't want you to take as convictions. Because they'll tell you conviction is firmly held opinion and beliefs. That is not what I want to define. The conviction in purpose-led language, I would call convictions as the truth in the knowledge that activates you. I know that could be a tough...
The truth?
The truth in the knowledge, in a knowledge that convicts you. What I mean, like you read the word of God, you can read the word of God as knowledge. You know. But knowledge does not necessarily convict you.
Yeah.
So, but there's a truth. The truth in that knowledge is like when I give you medicine like Panadol. Do you know maybe only 10%, 20% of that Panadol is what you call active ingredient? You may find the rest were carrier to preserve.
Yeah.
There's what you call the active ingredients. So many people are driving, they are more moving towards knowledge. So they know so much.
Yeah.
But ask yourself, as you read the word of God, what is that truth that activates you?
Yeah.
That truth is in the knowledge that activates you. If you start journaling that, you'll see a pattern. And mostly that will direct you to your pathway of purpose. The thing is, that truth must be absolute. Meaning it must be founded from the word of God, because that is the only absolute we have.
Yeah.
That's one cue. And Gigi, 2 of us could be watching news, maybe watch news about children abortion, for example. And maybe even 10 of us. You get so mad and even bang the table. No, this cannot happen at my side.
Yeah.
And we are watching the same thing. Me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, what is bothering you? Do you know why we are reacting? Why that person is reporting that way? Because there are convictions that there's a knowledge of, there's a truth in something that has been revealed to him or her that he cannot help it. It eat like yeast, the way the yeast eat the dough.
Yeah.
That's the foundation actually of purpose. The catch is we usually don't journal the moments where convictions take stage.
Yeah.
Because some of the things we do, even when we are not bound by these career job descriptions, mostly they are based on convictions. But somehow we are not here, we are kind of not conscious about the convictions. So the assignment to give people as a foundation first is actually to keep track of the patterns. Ask yourself, why did I do this? There's a lady actually who was organizing some, what do you call them, these demonstrations. And this demonstration and mobilize people to the streets. And I asked her one time, why would you mobilize people to go to the streets? So we started peeling the onion in terms of why.
Yes.
And it's like, why so what? And at the heart I say, because I believe in the sanctity of life. Now that is a truth. Is the sanctity of life absolute? Yes. But because of that, her anchored purpose is an evocative for pro-life. She may find herself in doing counseling, I don't know what, those are now labels, they are patterns. But by the heart, there is something called the sanctity of life is her revealed truth that activates her to act. So as she's doing advocacy out there, she's always doing these polls for people I don't know against whatever. And she has a movement like an NGO, she's running and quite sustaining. But you will see what she's doing. But at the heart, there is the truth that activates her. And that's now from the convictions. So the sanctity of life and belief that life is sacred is actually the reason why she's doing what she's doing. So if people are able to spend time and see, as you read the word of God and interact with the truth, what are these facets of truth that activates you? That even when you watch news or you interact with something, you might be in a hotel, you go to a hotel and you're served badly. And you are two of us, me, I'm okay and continue eating. You are mad with the waiter.
How?
If you peel the onion, you might find actually the reason why you are reacting, you might find inside you believe in excellency. Maybe you believe in order, that there should be diligence in service. You may find now that's the foundation of your convictions. So first of all, that's why you journal. Before even you start now reading out how to dispense it, you start by the convictions. It will be so unique to you.
Gabriel, we're being told time is not on our side, and so before we wait for the continuation, hopefully soon, how can we get in touch with you, interact with you, so that maybe materials that we can be able to acquire, talks that we can be able to follow, how can we get in touch?
Thank you. I'm very active in social media, whether in Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, though not much, but I'm still warming up. So you find me as Gabriel Nyamu, your purpose coach. And I want to say in the month of October, it's one of the months that we actually talk about purpose, the whole month, from 1st of October to that 1st of October. And you can invite me to your organization to come and just speak to your employees, your chama, investment club, just about purpose. This year theme is about meaningful work. You can still get me through WhatsApp, through Airtel line 0780 676703. 0780 676703. That's an Airtel line. It's strictly for WhatsApp. So you can find me there. You can place your queries. And again, as I said, the whole month of October is International Month of Redemptive Purpose. The whole month. Talk about. Imagine we only celebrate other bad things or good, unfortunate things. Months, days for suicide. Months for HIV/AIDS. There is no time to celebrate why you're born. And that's the month of October, which we are doing this month. Every October, International Month of Redemptive Purpose. And I'm happy even to come back again here in October, still to advance this. And especially that topic about meaningful work. What does meaningful work mean? Yes.
Gabriel Nyamu, thank you so very much for your wisdom and for changing our mindset, even what has been drilled in us, and some of the hindrances to purpose living, survival mindset, careerism, our professionalism, staircase living, and also consumerism. Those are some of the hindrances, and soon we'll be looking at some of the misconceptions about purpose living. Thank you so very much for your company. You can share the link with someone who you feel they need to hear this from as young as they can be able to follow a conversation. Watch with them, let them have this mindset from a tender age, so that as they grow up, they will grow up knowing about purpose as well. Journal your convictions. That's another thing that I'm also going home with today as Gigi, in as far as purpose and finding the purpose is concerned. So thank you so very much for tuning in. God willing, we'll do this again tomorrow morning. Tomorrow being Friday, Maria Macau Mondi will be here with the Beyond the Melody segment. We get to meet in the evening, that is 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. tomorrow. That is in as far as Men on Record is concerned. Tomorrow we talk about money matters and debt management as well as men. So tell a man to tell a man to tell another man. Tomorrow, Men on Record, 7 to 8 p.m. across all our platforms. We will be live. Money matters is what we will be discussing. So from me, John Gishuru, and the entire team, we wish you a blessed and a fruitful day ahead. It's Kwaheri for now.